Hi everyone, welcome to TNT, just dropping some friends off as people head back after Songkran. People heading back either yesterday or today mainly. So the airport's going to be very busy this morning. In fact, it is very busy this morning. The other feature today is just the horrendous air quality, and I've never seen it this bad in Phuket, so we've got plenty to talk about. And we'll get to that air pollution story a little bit later on in the program. I can only see it having quite an effect on the election. It's less than a month away at this stage, and also on the tourism situation as people around the world reading these stories about high air pollution around Thailand and wondering what the hell is going on. Let's go to another story, and we go to the BangkokPost.com. Samui Ferry sinks at Don Sak Pier. It was also reported in Fleetmon.com, and that story saying Samui Ferry capsized at Suratani. But we'll go to the details in the Bangkok Post story, and apparently pretty much sitting on the bottom there at Don Sak on the mainland. The story says that a ferry on the route between Koh Samui and the mainland Suratani sank at the Don Sak Pier after passengers and vehicles had left. No one was injured, apparently, and it happened yesterday at 10 a.m. and it was the R10 ferry from the Raja Ferry Company who do all the ferry transfers from the mainland Suratani over to Koh Samui. Strong waves drove the ferry against the concrete pier, causing it to tilt and then sink to the seabed, which was only about 4 metres deep there. And the port continued its services because other piers remained operational. And Thai PBS World stretching the story out a bit further, saying that search on after 20 fishing boats capsized in stormy seas off Nakhon Si Thammarat, and talking about search and rescue operations off the southern province of Nakhon Si Thammarat for an unknown number of fishermen and tourists following the capsizing of about 20 boats during a freak storm. Apparently about 20 small fishing boats were at sea at the time, were struck by high waves and strong winds and capsized. A few which had been hired by tourists on fishing trips also capsized. 5 men were plucked from the stormy seas, but a number of others are still missing. And we don't have any more updates at this stage on that story, but there could still be some people missing from these storms in the Gulf of Thailand yesterday. And Thai PBS also reports a bit more about the sinking of the ferry at Don Sak Pier, saying the crash opened a gaping hole in the vessel, allowing seawater in. The vessel gradually listed and sank. In the meantime, 4 crew from a fishing boat were rescued from the rough seas off Samui Island after their vessel sank in heavy seas. Another fishing boat is also reported to have sunk and its crew still missing. So it looks like some sudden storms off the coast of Suratani and Nakhon Si Thammarat in the Gulf of Thailand yesterday morning, but also the nation reports further up in the northeast, and summer storm breaks up Songkran revelry in Ubon Ratchathani. That's up in the Isan region, northeastern Thailand. Thousands of Songkran revellers in Ubon Ratchathani's Pattaya Noi beach, a beach in Ubon Ratchathani, found themselves caught in a summer storm on Saturday afternoon. The strong winds and heavy rain, which lasted about half an hour, sent the crowds into a panic and triggered traffic jams on the Siradorn Chongmek Road. And Pattaya Noi Beach near the Siradorn Dam is a popular Songkran party site in the northeast, so a beach there on a dam up near Ubon Ratchathani. Here's a few photos from the nation. Looks like people suddenly caught out and really know where to go with all that traffic, and some sudden carnage, obviously a sudden windstorm. And there's another one showing the strength of the storm hitting this area near the Siradorn Dam. And the storm also damaged more than 10 floating restaurants, though no casualties were reported. So some sudden wild weather in completely different parts of Thailand over the weekend. Hopefully you weren't caught in any of those. And of course, if we can find out more about those missing people in southern Thailand, we'll bring that information to you as soon as we can find out. It's our Monday TNT program. Thanks for dropping in. And if you thought COVID-19 had gone away, well, not quite. We refer to the BangkokPost.com, more COVID-19 cases expected after Songkran. And the Bureau of Epidemiology expects the COVID-19 caseload to rise after the Songkran festival because of people's activities during the festival and their travel. So the Department of Disease Control Director General saying that the number of cases after Songkran may be higher than after the New Year, when measures imposed against COVID-19 were relaxed. As a result, people are not required to take COVID-19 tests and fewer people are wearing masks outdoors. Well, I'd say that if you go to the tourist areas, almost no one is wearing masks except for local Thais, and often only in the shops. He said between April the 9th to the 15th, 435 new infections were admitted into hospitals for treatment, an average of 62 per day, or 2.5 times higher than the previous week. Of them, 30 had lung inflammation and 19 were put on ventilation. I was wondering that with the high amount of air pollution around Thailand at the moment, if some of these COVID-19 patients might actually be really suffering from respiratory complaints related to the air pollution rather than COVID-19. Let's go on, and the story says that as for the spread of COVID-19, the XBB 1.16 variant, try keeping track of these variants. It's been detected in 22 countries, mostly India. And according to the Global Initiative on Sharing All Influenza Data, about 3,000 cases have been detected worldwide of this XBB 1.16 variant. And no, it doesn't appear to be any more dangerous than some of the former variants. So COVID-19 still in the news, and I'm sure I'll get some comments about that today. So here at the headquarters of 5 Star Marine, that's Sean. Thank you very much for their continuing sponsorship of the program. If you'd like to go on a private tour to any of the beautiful islands off Phuket, I can highly recommend 5 Star Marine. As you can see, all the boats are gone. I look like I've missed the boat. There's a link in the description of this video. This is the Monday TNT program. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done so. As I mentioned earlier, the air pollution problem, even in Phuket, in the south of Thailand, is horrendous today. And you can see in the background that hill, only about 1.5 kilometres away, has almost disappeared into the sky. So let's check out what's happening with the air pollution situation, even in Bangkok. And indeed, we go to The Star, which is a Malaysian publication, and it says Thailand's capital Bangkok joins Chiang Mai on the list of the 10 cities with the worst air quality. And this is from yesterday, reporting that Chiang Mai and Bangkok were listed as the 2nd and the 7th worst cities in the world, respectively, in terms of air quality by IQ Air. By last night, Chiang Mai topped the list again. So let's go to this morning's IQ Air map, and that's the list there of the cities that are listed by IQ Air with the worst air quality. And this morning, Chiang Mai number 2, and there, Bangkok down at number 7. And as usual, I've underlined Chiang Rai and Chiang Mai so you can see them under those numbers for the monitoring stations. And just for your reference, that is what's considered unhealthy, very unhealthy and hazardous air. And if we go into the central part of Thailand, you can see that Bangkok is not having, well, as bad a day as Chiang Mai, but certainly poor air quality in places like Bangkok and around Pattaya as well. And now even the south is getting in on the act. Let's go to southern Thailand. And I've circled up there on the top, that is Koh Samui, Koh Tao, Koh Phangan, and then we've got Phuket. And they're all got either unhealthy for sensitive groups or unhealthy air. And even further down in places like Songkran, Satun, down on the Malaysian border. And all that air is coming from the northwest. So it looks like the fires in Myanmar causing a lot of this smoke now floating down into southern Thailand as well. And thanks to all those people that joined in on Saturday with our live program with myself and Nick. and also to those people who watched our Grumpy Old Men program yesterday. Let's go to a little bit of election news, less than 4 weeks away now, and PBS World reporting Pheu Thai Party's Pathongtan topped the PM candidate in the latest NIDA poll. Now, there was a poll that came out late last week from Superpoll, and it was putting the stocks of the Public Health Minister Anatin Charnvirakul and his Phumjai Thai Party in a much better light than recent polls. But Superpoll is basically sort of run by a conservative think tank, and the polls are always wildly in support of the conservative side of Thai politics. These NIDA polls are considered much more accurate and professionally run, and let's check what they're saying. So this NIDA poll gauged the opinions of 2,000 people across the country aged over 18. Usually anywhere above 1,000 people is considered a reasonable poll number. And they had different educational backgrounds, careers and income levels. It was held between April the 3rd and the 7th, and it puts Pathongtan Shinawatra at 35%. She remains by far the preferred Prime Minister after the election, followed by Peter, who is the Prime Ministerial candidate for the Move Forward Party. And in this particular poll, we've got Prayut Chan-o-cha coming in third with 13.6, and Anatin Charnvirakul at number 8. Of course, the Prime Ministerial candidate for the Phumjai Thai Party. Let's go for the preferred parties, and Pheu Thai coming in number 1 and Move Forward number 2, pretty much reflecting the support for preferred Prime Ministers. But more interestingly, if you add the support for those two parties, and if this support actually was reflected in the election poll, that would give them 68% of the primary vote, which of course would allow them to form a government without having to do any deals with other parties. Now, even the Pheu Thai Party on that vote is at 47%. If they get over 50%, then they don't even have to do a coalition with Move Forward Party. So, interesting poll numbers. Let's check the favoured party list candidates, and pretty much a similar situation with Pheu Thai and Move Forward on top, quite a long way ahead of UTN. That's the party that is behind Prayut Chan-o-cha, the current caretaker Prime Minister. Phumjai Thai Party there around about 3%. So this support for Phumjai Thai in this particular NIDA poll, much more reflective of polls we've had in recent weeks. But with 4 weeks to go, anything could happen. And of course, polls are often wrong, but the NIDA poll in the past has been reasonably accurate. Going now to coconuts.co, this is their Yangon edition from Myanmar. The story says, trafficked teens tell of torture at scam casino on Myanmar's chaotic border. And it was a clear day when Cam, who's not his real name, set out from his home in northwest Laos for what he thought was a chance to make money in the gilded gambling towns of the Golden Triangle, the border region his country shares with Thailand and Myanmar. And the story goes on talking about how he got a message on Facebook from a friend. Hey, do you want to make some money? Let's go on. I thought to myself I'd work for a month or two, then I'd go home. But instead of a job, Cam ended up trafficked and held captive in a nondescript building on the Burmese-Thai border, some 200 miles south of the Golden Triangle and 400 miles from his home. Isolated from the outside world, tortured and forced into a particular kind of labour to work as a cyber scammer. In recent years, secret sites like this one where Cam was detained, Cam was 16 years old, remember, have proliferated throughout the region as the COVID-19 pandemic forced criminal networks to shift their strategies for making money. One popular scheme today involves scammers starting fake romantic online relationships that eventually lead to stealing as large as possible sums of money from the targets. The scammers said that if they fail to do so, they're tortured. And this story, well reported by coconuts.co, chillingly, dozens of teenagers and young people from Luang Namta are still believed to be trapped at the site along with victims from other parts of Asia. The case is but the tip of the iceberg in the vast network of human trafficking that claims over 150,000 victims a year in Southeast Asia. So I'd urge you, if you have a moment, to check out that story, a link in the description in this video, the story of Cam. And this story from AJOT.com Thailand to fast-track aircraft additions to rein in airfares. And having the words aircraft and fast-track in the same sentence, I think, is a worrying start. The story says Thailand's civil aviation regulator will accelerate approvals for airlines seeking to add planes to boost capacity and cool airfares that have soared in recent months with a rapid recovery in tourism. And Prime Minister Prayut Chan-o-cha has ordered the Transport Ministry to supervise domestic airfares and ensure travellers were not overcharged. Ticket prices soared as domestic passenger volume jumped 85% in the first quarter from a year earlier, while international traffic surged about 54% and airlines were unable to expand their fleets. The government will help carriers increase the number of seats on both domestic and international routes in line with market demand, which may also allow them to reduce ticket prices. Well, I would have thought that most of this came down to the airlines and their business models. There was probably little the government could do. Well, that's the question. What could they do? And the Civil Aviation Authority in Thailand is in the process of approving requests by Lion Air, Vietjet Air and Thai Air Asia to add more seats to their fleets. Thai Airways International has sought permission to operate 6 more aircraft as well, and the aviation regulator will monitor airfares and hold regular meetings with airlines to ensure reasonable ticket prices. And the government spokesperson's urging people to book their tickets in advance to avoid paying exorbitant prices. So this is basically a supply and demand problem. It's up to the airlines to set these prices. Unless the government wants to subsidise airfares, that's probably not a bad idea if they want to stimulate tourism. There's really not much they can do. Yes, they can probably grease the wheels on the paperwork a bit, but I don't really want to see any corners cut when it comes to checking all these aircraft and making sure they're actually safe to fly. And that's about it from our Monday TNT. Thank you for joining us on the program. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't had a chance to do so far. You won't get any emails. It doesn't cost you anything, but it's been great having you with us for the past 15 minutes. Let's do it again tomorrow.